Welcome to episode 1 of Q&A. These are questions submitted by you that I will answer. I would like to do a lot more of these, so if you would, down below, submit a question. Could be anything, especially on YouTube. It's a little more challenging to get a more one-on-one interaction with you. So if you have a question for me, submit it. I'll put it on the sheet, and then at some point, I will cover it for you. Now, my name is Evan Scales. I've been day trading now for 8 years. I did turn about $100,000 into over $500,000 in about 18 months. And currently, I built NQSignals.com. Don't currently use it. We'll talk about that today. And the volume gap strategy, which is responsible for a lot of trader success recently. So without further ado, let's jump on in and get right to it. So question number 1 is I noticed you have a record leaning against your wall in the background. Do you record a song or something you bought? Let's see if you guys can kind of see them. The records, let me turn my camera a little bit. There's 1, there's 2 right there. It's black and white. Those are personal mementos more than anything. So those are like personal things. So if I accomplish something that I think I'm kind of proud of, then I will just go and get one of those made. You can go on Etsy and it's like $100. And it's, it'll be shipped to you, and they're really lightweight. They're maybe not even a pound, right? They're super lightweight. As a matter of fact, they're kind of, I'm gonna say cheaply made, but they're not like of the highest quality, but they look pretty cool. And so from a distance, people think it is a record label or record something. But it is certainly not. I am not musically inclined. I can sing a little bit, but nothing to write home about. So that is what those are. Those are just personal mementos. I will get more of them as I accomplish more of the goals that I have moving forward. So we'll keep that going. What's your advice of starting off prop firms as someone who is brand new? So if you're brand new to prop firms, my first question is, you have to give a little bit more detail, but my first question is going to be, are you new to trading or are you just new to prop firms? If you're new to trading, I would not use prop firms. I would just go ahead and demo trade for a long time until you get comfortable with your strategy. Then you can jump into maybe a prop firm eval or something. Now, if you are not new to trading, but you're new to prop firms, the next question I have is, like, what type of trader were you before using prop firms? Because prop firms will just exacerbate what you were. So let's say you are a trader who has never made money trading. That's fine. Prop firms are not going to be the solution for you. They're not going to help you make more money. Okay, if you're a profitable trader who knows how to make money consistently, then prop firms will help you earn more money while using less of your own capital, which is the point. Prop firms, I would say, they're better than online casinos, but not by much. Okay, to tell you the truth, their existence and their ability to offer you to get a payout while in a sim-funded account kind of gives you the proof that you need to know that these companies aren't like, when you win, they lose, and when you lose, they win. This isn't like it's not a symbiotic relationship. Okay, so you have to take prop firms with a grain of salt, and maybe you guys have more questions about this down the road, and we can talk more deeply about prop firms and how I think about them. But if you're a bad trader, using prop firms is only going to cost you more money, as you'll just keep buying evals and then paying to activate your accounts and then blowing those accounts and having to restart the entire process. You might get a payout on accident, but you won't be consistently getting payouts. You won't be consistently profitable using prop firms if you weren't profitable before using prop firms. Now, if you are, let's say you are intermediate, like you're break even, which everybody says they're break even, whatever. So let's say you are break even. You have some winning days, you have some losing days. You've made money before, you've lost money before. You're kind of just floating between. Advice I have for prop firms is you want to find the prop firm that has the easiest path to a payout. A lot of traders optimize for passing an eval, which is totally fine. A lot of traders optimize for like the very end, which is trying to get as many payouts as possible. I like to optimize for what is like the fastest way to get a payout and the simplest way to understand. If there's a stack of rules like this big for you to get a payout, probably not going to get a payout. Okay, Apex has a lot of weird rules. In my opinion, Take Profit Trader has some rules I don't love. Anything that has a low consistency rule is going to be a no-go for me. So Take Profit Trader falls into that, where it's like 20% consistency. That's ridiculous. Apex is 30%. Even that is a little ridiculous. I would say anything that's lower than 50% is probably too much for me. And the reason for that is we don't control what the markets do. We don't control what the markets give us. Sometimes you're going to get into a trade and unknowingly it is going to rocket ship in your favor. And you shouldn't be able to not get your money because the market just did something you didn't expect. Like that doesn't seem fair to me. And so that's why I've always had a problem with Apex, Take Profit Trader, or any of the other firms that have consistency rules that are somewhat restrictive inside of those simulated funded accounts. Now, another piece of advice would be that we don't necessarily want to spend all of our time in evals. We like to spend a lot of our time in the funded accounts as much as possible, because there are different emotional levels to these things. Like starting an eval is its own thing, right? And then getting close to that profit goal is another thing, right? So you get close to the profit goal, and sometimes you choke and you blow it. Sometimes you exceed it, and you did great on accident, and you try to do it again, it doesn't work out as well. Once you get to the funded account, that's a new level of emotions. Now you're like that close to a payout, and so you don't really want to blow it. You don't want to mess anything up, and that will impact the way you trade. And so what I would say is we want to focus on the prop firms or have the fastest path to payouts and the easiest path to payouts. But then we want to get into those funded accounts as fast as possible. Like that's exactly what we want. We don't want to spend much time in eval land. So that means size up on your contracts, and have money ready, like have capital ready and capital allocated for prop firms. You might need, if you're going to try and go for a prop firm, depending on how much the eval is, you might need like 5 times that starting amount, just to make sure that you have enough to, if you blow one, you can buy another one and you're not trading on your last dollars, right? Maybe even 10 times, maybe even 20 times. I got to keep extrapolating out from there. Any last remarks on prop firms? I would say you don't want to spend too much time optimizing your strategy for a prop firm. You want to like spend more time finding the right prop firm for your strategy. Okay. And so like, we don't want to trade small because the prop firm we chose makes us trade small. No, just find a different prop firm that allows you to trade larger. If you're somebody who likes to swing trade, or you like to hold trades a little bit longer and you want to use higher time frames, then you need to find a prop firm that, fits what you're looking to do really well. I'll give you an example. Top Step, they're now with Project X, and we'll talk about that later in this recording. But before, they didn't do the minis to micro conversions on Trade-Evade. They just didn't do it. And so they'd offer you 5 contracts in a 50K eval, and you would only get 5 micros you could trade in the eval as well. It was ridiculous. And so a firm like Top Step, if you're somebody who wants to trade, some micros, but you want to hold trades longer, you might, let's say you get funded that same 50K account. The scaling plan begins you at 2 contracts. That's the most you can start with is 2. Well, that doesn't mean you get 20 micros. That just means you get 2 micros. And so a firm like Top Step probably doesn't suit what you're looking to do very well. So you need to make sure that you have that mini to micro conversion. So there are a lot of weird rules out there. I personally love Top Step, but like that rule, if I was a certain type of trader, would not fit the way I do things. And so then I would need to find a different firm for that. Okay. So hopefully that answers that question. If you guys have more questions about prop firms or specific ones, then we can certainly spend some time researching them and looking at them, and I can break these down. Next question, would it be possible to have a few live trading sessions during the week? Not every day, but a few would be awesome. Also, any recommendations on stop loss take profit using new VGAPS indicator? Yes, one second. So for the VGAP traders who have access to the Volume Gap software, which is 2. It's a manual software, and there's also a semi-automated software, which analyzes and enters the trades for you. Traded that today and yesterday to a high degree of success. Live sessions, we'll start with that one first. So I do go live for the Volume Gaps traders every day, Monday through Friday for for 40 minutes to an hour and a half, I guess, would be the max, depending on what I'm trading and what I'm doing. I do it for them, and it's really there for replay value and just to answer any questions. Could I do it for like just the overall Discord group? I think so. I think that's kind of in the future. I think that having a live session or 2, maybe even 3 during the week would be, I think, helpful for a lot of you guys. I'll probably let the system take the trades, not me. And so I won't be able to control how often the system takes transactions, which can be a little boring to watch at times. And so it'll be a lot of just this, me talking to the camera, me answering you guys' questions in the chat, and us going back and forth and just having a lot of fun. We could certainly do that for sure. I don't have any issues with people trying to copy the trades that the software takes. I really don't care about that because I won't be live long enough for it to really matter much. So I probably could integrate that. I think that would be helpful for a lot more people just to get an insight into what's going on and how things are going. But fair warning, like I might go on for 10 minutes, catch 2 trades, be up $300 in that account, and then like move on, So I might not be live for an hour, or I might just turn the bot off and we'll watch the signals. You know what I mean? Like, so we'll see on that one. I also have some ding-dongs who love to be in the comments, flood my comments, and it's just really annoying to deal with. So we'll see. I think that is down the road. I think I will start doing some more live streams. We'll see kind of how that takes. Now, any recommendations on stop loss take profit using VGAPS indicator? So stop loss and take profit is very dependent on the ATR, and we could get into that a little bit, but the average true range, what is the average size of the candles that you're trading? That's going to depend on a lot. Typically with the volume gaps, because we're trading reversals, what oftentimes makes sense is that, let's say price is going up and down like this, and price comes down and it hits one of our levels, and then we want to go ahead and take a long right around this level and take it back up. Well, putting a stop below that swing low, like whatever that most recent low is created, makes a ton of sense. Now, there is no set risk reward that I go with because I trail all of my trades, which allows me to make decent money on some trades and also causes me to miss out on some bigger moves, but that's a story for a different question, I guess. So that swing low, if reasonable, right? So if I'm trading one full mini, so a full contract, and that low is like 25 points away, then that's not going to be helpful for me because I'm not going to sacrifice $500 on a trade. Now, if that low is like 3 or 4 points away, then that's cool. Then I might size up to another contract, maybe go 2 contracts. If it's 4 points away, 4 times 2 is 8. So it's not like 8. That's not a huge deal for me to go ahead and risk that amount of money. $240, wouldn't be a big deal at all. So it just depends on what size the candles are. If you get a huge move down or a huge move up, and then that next candle you want to take a trade on, you need to be ready for what could be a 10 to 20 to 30 point candle in any direction. And so you have to size correctly. So stop loss take profit, it's one of those things where it just kind of shifts throughout the day. Sometimes it's more, sometimes it's less. Just depends on what the market's giving us. There is no set amount. If I've learned anything, is that trying to do anything when it comes to trading with a specific set amount will typically get you blasted a lot, which is why I do the semi-auto. I don't do the full auto because the semi-auto gives us the ability to shift around what we're doing and match what the market's giving us. All right. Now, question number 4, implementing NQ signals into more trades. So NQ signals was the project that preceded VGAPS, and NQ signals preceded, or I guess, no, it seeded as after, right? After, whatever. The predictive model. Now they're all kind of like in a line, in a row. NQ signals I don't use as much. Iverson is probably the closest thing to volume gaps that I have out there. Iverson does the high and low. The reason I'm not using it anymore is I just built something better, I feel like. That's made me more consistent and got me more profit. Now, NQ signals is still going to be useful if you want to look at multiple time frames and what ChatGPT thinks is going to happen. Like, it's out there, you can use it, you can look at it, nqsignals.com. It's completely free. I don't use it, and so if you're going to implement it into some of your trades, then you basically have 2 ways you could do this. You could go on like a 5-minute chart, and you could look for reversals by waiting for the 1 minute or 2 minute to show like a negative, you get like a sell signal. You could do that. You can obviously use Iverson, which is going to be the high and low. You can do that. Or you could like look for trend continuation trades, which would be like the 15 minute, I don't remember, is it 10 minute on there? 15 minute, 10 minute, 5 minute, whatever it is on the chart or is listed. If those are all, let's say they're all green, but the 1 minute and 2 minute are red. Well, then if the higher time frames say long and the shorter time frames say short, maybe just the shorter time frames, the lower time frames are just like in a reversal pattern. When that ends and they point long again, then that would be a good opportunity for you to go long according to all the higher time frames. So those are ideas for you. You really have to play around with it. NQ Signals is a fantastic tool to add to what you're doing. It on its own is just okay. It's just okay. It'll have its good days. It'll have its bad days. It's just all right. And so that's why I stopped working on it, is I wasn't able to get it above where I needed it to be as fun and as accurate. And to tell you the truth, it's hard to get a new signal every minute, 2 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15, and it's consistently accurate. That's just going to be, that's a tough sled. I probably didn't think that all the way through when I started building it. So, but those are a couple ideas for you. I have some videos inside the Discord. If you scroll up inside of the how to use signals, there's a ton of videos in there. MACD's in there. Super trends in there. There are a lot of different options in there for you. Now, show more about how to use ATMs in Tradevate. Okay, I can do that here really quick. Let me make my face big, and then I'll get to Tradevate really fast. Give me 1 second. All right, so here, and then we'll do. Okay. Are we going to our demo account? Oh, shit. Okay. Let me open that up. All right. Okay, so we're on a 1 minute chart. It's my Trade account. Let's just go one contract here. Okay, so the question was show more about how to use ATMs in Trade. Actually, really easy. The way ATMs work is they have to be set up first before a trade gets opened. All right, so you would do, like I have a ton of these, like a ridiculous amount, because I was testing things with NQ signals actually. So ATMs, what you want to do is click this settings gear, turn it on, and then you hit the plus button just to get a new one. So like I have a bunch of these here, I'll make a new one for us. So let's just say, I'll go as one Q and A, hit okay. And then show in ticks, delta price or dollar value. I prefer dollar value. What this does is it makes it so that like my take profit would be $10 and my stop loss would be $10 in this case. If I change that to $100 and $100, okay, and I hit save, then when I place a buy trade, I automatically get a stop loss at $100 and a take profit at $100 with one contract. Now, let's see if we'll close this one out here. We'll go here. Okay. Now, if I go 2 contracts and I hit buy again, now it's basically times 2. So remember how my settings were, my settings are $100 take profit, $100 stop loss. Because I chose 2 contracts, now they're $200. I think we should be down, yeah, 232. Where it was $200 as my stop loss, $200 as my take profit. So the advanced trade management system doesn't update with a contract. So if you make a $100 stop loss and a $300 take profit and you go with 2 contracts, then it's going to be 200 and 600. Okay. So that's number one, just to keep your eye on. So we'll keep it 2. All right. Now, if I go back to this thing, there are a lot of things you can do with this. You can make your take profit and stop loss, whatever. You can also choose different types of trades. So the one I like a lot is the, I think it's this one. Yeah. Auto break even plus the auto trail. So what this means is like you basically have a trade. Once it gets into profit, then you'll have a trailing stop, and that trailing stop will activate based on the way that you have set this up here. So the first thing you'd have to do, and there's a lot of things here because your take profit and stop loss don't actually change. They stay a little bit. So you'd want to make this like 800, and then let's say I want my stop loss to be $200. The reason you make your take profit 800 and your stop loss 200, this is an example, is if you're going to use a trail, you don't want your take profit to be in the way of a big move, right? So, and this happened to me a couple days ago, actually. Today's Tuesday? It happened to me Friday. I had a humongous move on my hands. Could have passed on my evals instead of on Monday on last Friday. But my take profit was, I had a limit order set and I didn't delete it before. And so price touched it, exited the trade, and I wasn't able to make, extra money. So you want to make your take profit larger if you're going to use a trail, because if price just like gaps up on your runs for a while, you don't want to accidentally be out of that trade unless like $800 or $500 is like all you're asking for. And then like in that case, whatever. Okay. So you have that, you have the auto break even plus auto trail. Profit trigger. So how much money do you need to be up in this trade before this kicks in? I'm going to say I'm trading 2 contracts right now. Well, I need to be up $50 per year, but basically $100. Let's go make it even $40, which is 2 points. So I need to be up $80. I'm trading 2 contracts right now. I need to be up $80 in order for this to kick in. Okay. And then we want to, and the plus, what this means is like where do you want your stop loss to be moved once there's a $40 profit in the account? So I'm going to put this at $10 above the open. So that means that if this gets hit, I should net out about $3 and some cents based on the commissions. $3 to get in, $3 to get out, and change. Now, once you have your stop loss, or once you have that, now once this is hit, your stop loss then kicks in, profit trigger kicks in, and then frequency. So like you kind of have to make these match up too. So I would want, in this case, like I'd want my stop loss to be, I'll make it $40. Make a profit trigger would be same thing, $40, and then my frequency, how often this updates. So frequency means as the trade is moving in your favor, how often should we update it? Like let's say price is going up, kind of like it is right now. It's going up. How many dollars should pass before we update this thing? So I'm gonna say $20. Okay, my stop loss will be $40 behind. So then let's go ahead and place a trade here. Let's go with a short. Okay. So my stop loss is here. My take profit's here. And let's see if this trade can get to profit for us here so we can see this in real time. Okay. Close. I don't want to wait too long on this. But let's see if we can get something going here. Damn it, market. Do what I want you to do. Waiting. Almost. Oh, we're up 20. 30, 50. Okay, we're still, because we're trading two contracts, it's going to be more. It needs to go another point. There it is. You guys saw that jump. Stop loss was up there to down here. Okay, so now, and then let's see if it runs any further because it'll update. So now we're up basically half a point. Is our guaranteed profit here, plus or minus commissions. And there we go. Now we're out. And we ended up making $4 on that. I was at 232. Now I'm at 228. Okay. Now there are like endless ways that you could do this. Okay. And like, depending on how you want to trade and what type of trader you are, you can make this fit for you. If I'm using a $200 stop loss, I probably don't want my profit trigger to be 40 bucks. I probably want it to be something larger. So that way, if I have a loss and I have a win, like they're somewhat close, you know, this wouldn't make any sense. I'd have a high win rate, but a terrible P&L. I don't want that. So you have to make this fit for you and what you're doing. But that's exactly how you use that. All right. And you can play with this. Again, there's more than just like, you can do the just auto trail if you want to. You could have that going. You can do auto break even as well. This would be like auto break even would be cool if you just scalp and you want to scalp for like a few points. Soon as price jumps and hits your, whatever break even number you want, like it automatically moves for you. And so it's a lot faster than like you doing it by hand as an example. So that'd be cool. Remember that a stop is basically a market order. And so sometimes price will just blitz your stop and it'll run beyond your what you thought you were going to lose or gain even potentially. And so just keep that in mind. It's a market order. Fills could be a little interesting. All right. So that is that on Tradovate. How can beginners get progress with futures? Okay. So good question here. How can beginners get into and progress with futures? Depending on the word beginner is like, what does that mean? Like when I was in college, I was a beginner trader. I had never seen the markets before. I had never seen candlesticks before. I'd never bought in a stock before. I had no idea. I was a true beginner. Is that what you are as a beginner? Or are you somebody who's like, I traded crypto, I traded options, I've done stocks before, I've done Forex, I've done like binary options, I've done all kinds of stuff. Now I'm getting into futures. Is that what you mean as a beginner into futures? Or are you like straight up like a true beginner to trading? If you're a true beginner to trading, futures is a great spot to be in. Like, it's a fantastic place because I think it's set up the easiest to make money. And what I mean by that is with Forex, you have huge spreads and you have margin. That's kind of ridiculous. Crypto, you have insane volatility and you have to worry about just a lot of weird movements that aren't really within, not your control because nothing's really in your control, but crypto can be very challenging. Binary options are stupid. Options are complex and you could still, price can move in your favor, but you can still lose a trade. So that's kind of hard to get your head around if you're not willing to really dive in. So futures do make a ton of sense for a brand new person. If you're brand new to futures, prop firms are going to be a great place for you to start after you starting with your demo account. And then you just need to look for a strategy that you can basically click buy and sell with and feel comfortable with it, right? So price is moving up, you click buy if you think it's going to keep going up, you click sell if it's going to keep going down. But futures are very, very simple. Now, if you're new to futures but not new to trading, then how would you progress? Is you start with prop firms. And depending on your capital, I might even say like you start with prop firms and just get a feel for it and then you transition to your own capital. And that could be a topic we talk about next time is like, transition to your own capital and when that makes sense. Because a lot of you guys, this doesn't really answer the question, but a lot of you guys are able to get $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 of profit. And that just helps you pass an eval. And then you get in the funded account. You got to make another $3,000, $5,000 or another $1,000, $2,000. And it's like, man, if we just like traded micros, we could have made a tenth of that. So we could have made $300, $400, and that'd be our own cash. And like that'd be our money. Our net worth would have actually grown instead of like this fake money that I paid money to get access to that I had to pay more money to get more access to. And so there is a path to transitioning to your own capital with futures because it's really not that expensive. Like to trade micros is like $200 per contract for NQ. So like it's really reasonable, I think. But how would you progress with futures is going to be finding a strategy that works, And like a strategy that works with futures will work with just about anything, but you'll just have to make it fit for what you're trying to do. You need to consider your strategy. You need to consider your ability to trade. A lot of people don't think this through. If your ability to sit at a computer is very limited versus wide open, like you're very, very available to do it, what type of strategies you use are going to vary like quite a bit. If you don't have a lot of time to sit at a computer, you have one of two options. You could like take a trade and then just like manage it throughout the day while you're trying to do your job. Like I'm thinking like, let's say you're a nurse. Okay, you take a trade and then you're going to hold on to that trade, you know, maybe throughout your shift you can check on it a couple times, maybe depending on the day, like you have that option. Or you could go like micro scalp, right? And just trade like there's a trader who has the VGAP software. He owns a pharmacy. Doesn't have a lot of time to trade. And so we looked at trading a higher time frame and just holding on to positions longer. Well, that comes with its own things. You have to hold on to a position longer. The losses are going to be bigger. The wins are going to be bigger. But you don't necessarily know what's going to happen. And sometimes your moves can be pretty random. Or, so what we kind of maybe made a shift in today is going down to like a 30-second chart. And while you have 10, 15 minutes, I have a dentist as well. Same thing, same strategy we're going to use. We're going to go down to like a 30-second chart. And then we're just going to scalp there. Or we're going to let the auto trader enter the trades for us. And we're going to close them out as we can. But we'll get 2, maybe 3 trades every 10 minutes. That's a lot of trades. And so you're going to be accurate, but you'll miss a few as well. But if you have a limited amount of time sitting in front of a computer, then maybe going and scalping while you can and then walking away because you actually have to walk away could be a very good strategy for you. Okay. Other than that, prop firms make a ton of sense. Other than that, I would just say practice. Like you have to practice a ton. There's not really any other way. Like you can read books. I don't know if I believe in reading about trading strategies. Just have to go out there and do it. Like there's no other really way to explain that. Okay. Simple trading strategies. I don't know what this would entail. NQsignals.com. If you pair those signals with a MACD and a super trend and you get the 1, 2, and 5 minute to align, that typically has some staying power. You can also use Iverson with the reversals. That's a huge help. That will allow you to, I think, take some really good setups too. So you can do reversals. You can also do the signals with the with those simple indicators. I think that'd be really helpful. Obviously, there's some moving average strategies out there. I don't recommend them because if I recommend it, then I use it, and if I don't use it, then I can't recommend it. So I don't. Trading reversals is a simple strategy. You just have to find a couple of filters so that you don't get into trades that are like fast moving and end up blowing your account. You don't want that. But simple trading strategies, the simple really just means like what you can execute on consistently every single day. And there are a ton of those. The question is, do they work? Like, I don't know. Like, are they going to work for you? I have no idea. So again, another way to think about this is like we talked about before. What's your availability to trade? What's your capital to trade? Like, what are you good at? What are you bad at? Or do you have the patience? I don't have a ton of patience for my trades. I don't. I lost a trade today. That was a huge winner because I didn't give my stop enough room. It just happens. Okay. I didn't give price enough room. My stop was in the way, hits my stop, and then proceeds to just rocket the other way. And it's like, I'm not going to chase it because that's an idiot's move, but like that's a fault of mine. I know. So I want to optimize my strategies for getting into the trade and that next candle being like where it needs to be. It needs to be profitable. That's what I optimize for because that's how I like to trade. Everyone's a little bit different. So simple strategies, you have to define what simple means, but there are a lot of them out there. NQsignals.com, go to the Discord, which will be linked below. Jump into the how to use the signals and then scroll up and you'll look for like the MACD and look for the super trend and they'll both be there. And you'll be able to combine those with some good success. All right. Reversal strategies that aren't VGAPs. Well, like the RSI is one. So you could use the RSI. Bollinger Bands are another. Both of those I've never had good success with, I'll just say. Other reversal strategies. Support and resistance, I guess. The reason I use volume gaps is it's the simplest, easiest way to spot where price is going to reverse. Just put it simply. And then the automation gives us a couple filters so that we don't get into trades that are really fast moving. The way that volume gaps work, put it like this. Your trading strategy should work in real life the same way it works on the charts, because the charts are just a display of price action, but these are just overall markets that are dictated by a number of things, many factors. So let me give you the parallel that I like to give to the traders who are interested in learning about the VGAPs is like a house. Let's say we're in a house. Let's say that house is worth $500,000. Okay, decent house. Let's say we go to sell that $500,000 house for $1 million. Okay, well, the house isn't worth $1 million. So the neighbors in the neighborhood are going to look at that house and be like, it's not worth $1 million, right? And then any potential buyer is going to be like, $1 million for what? Like, is there like $500,000 in gold buried underneath, like we don't know about? Like, why is this house worth $1 million? It's not worth that. And so if you could trade that, like if you could trade and bet on that house going up in price or down in price, that'd be an easy thing for you to go, it's going to go down in price, right? So it's up here, it's worth this. We know price is going to come down. Same thing on the downside. If you put a $500,000 house on the market for $200,000, there are going to be a ton of buyers. Well, as the owner of the house, you want to get the most value you can, right? And so you have to raise price until you get to a point where there are a satisfactory amount of buyers with the price that you feel is fair for the home, right? And so if that $500,000 house is on the market for $200,000, then we would all be like, yeah, that's going to go for more than asking by far. Someone might come in and offer cash of $400,000 for that house because it's so, and I would still be underpriced. So we could easily bet prices of that house is going to go up. That's what volume gaps is. We're looking at where price is compared to where it was. We're thinking, yeah, it's not going to go higher than that. It's not going to go lower than that. We can place our entries at these levels and then take the trades. That's how the volume gap system works. And so any other reversal strategies outside of that, I don't recommend because I don't use them. Okay, I don't know. There are, I guess, different channels out there that will give you guys different strategies that you could try. If I don't use them to try and make money, I cannot speak to them. But there are plenty of reversal strategies that are out there that aren't VGAPs. Thoughts on Project X over Tradevate? This is a fun one because Project X has one thing that I like that Tradevate does not. And let me get a sip of water and I'll talk about that. So Project X, I've actually used Project X before. I didn't know it, but I've used it before. I was trading with UProfit, I think it was, as a prop firm. They're not great, but my trading platform was TradingView. I was like, what? I'm like, what the hell is this? But that's basically Project X before Project X was a thing, or I guess more well known. I guess whatever. So UProfit, really cheap evals, and they actually have decent rules actually. Anyway, Project X offers, I think, a slew of things. They even have like a way you can track your trades and everything, so you have like really good data. That's great. I've heard that. I have not used it personally, but I know traders who do use it. So and they've said good things about it. There's some annoying things too, like any platform. But they offer API access, which this is something that Tradevate doesn't give you, and no prop firm gives you that either, because it's up to the platform. But Tradevate doesn't offer API access unless you have $10,000 of real cash inside of one of their real accounts, which is fine, except that doesn't cross over into your prop firm accounts, and so it's useful. It's useless. It's not useful at all. Project X for $30 a month. $39. It's either $29 a month or $39. I think it's $29 a month. Offers API access, which means like if you get a signal from TradingView, which is what the volume gas software is, it will then like much faster than what we have to use right now, which is Traders Post. It will auto execute that trade inside of your account seamlessly. So signal, boom, trade with with as little slippage as humanly possible. Okay, faster than a human could do it. That API access is huge because that allows, basically, in my head, we can start to like micro scalp in some of these accounts that we have. That will allow us to get in and out in instance, right? In and out within for half a point or 3/4 of a point. That might not be a strategy that I put together, but the API, because it's so fast, will allow for things like that. And so right now we have to use what's called Traders Post. So you have, I don't think I can draw on this thing, but you have TradingView, Traders Post, Tradevate, a lot of trade. And a signal gets generated on TradingView, goes to Traders Post, goes to your prop firm account. Project X, because I use API, is just TradingView to your PropFirm account. Much faster. Now, it is lightning fast on Traders Post. Like, they are super fast. It's just even faster with less slippage and more accuracy on Project X. And so it is something that I will be working on, is building a prototype for just Project X, just for the API, so I can use it, because their API technically is cheaper than Traders Post. Traders Post is $50. Theirs is $29, and you can link multiple accounts across multiple prop firms, which is pretty cool. I think you can do 3, but it's like you can link as many as you want, I guess, up to their limit of, I think it is three, whatever. So that's out there. That's something that I'm really considering. I'd like to take advantage of the API and try to put together a super scalping strategy. I don't have anything in mind, but that would be a really cool thing to do and test it out. And so we'll see. But Project X does offer the API. I don't have any feelings towards Project X other than that. Tradeovate's been fine to me. It's been good. Obviously, price moves incredibly fast, and so you don't always get what you're looking for at times, but that's going to happen on any platform. Other than that, I do think that some of these prop firms, this is a hesitation I have of Project X. First off, I don't even know if they're a standalone broker or not, like Tradeovate was, NinjaTrader is, like they're the same thing. NinjaTrader is a standalone broker, and they used to be big in Forex and anything else. So I have a little concern with prop firms having maybe potentially their thumb on this scale when it comes to these sim funded and sim accounts, right? Like Tradeovate, for everything that people don't like about it, I guess people just have negative things to say about it, at least like is a real brokerage account firm where you can put money in and you can like take trades in a live account. Project X probably has the same, but Project X was built for prop firms. And so again, prop firms are just like a level above online casinos. They're designed to take your money and designed not to give you any money. That's how they work. And so I'm a little cautious on Project X, but I'll probably tinker around with it. I'll trade with it. I'll play with it, and we'll see kind of how it goes. I'm sure it'll be fine. More conspiracy than anything to really be worried about, but we'll see how it goes. I don't have much to say on it other than that. I'll use Project X. Maybe I'll give you guys an update on that later on. Maybe I'll make a separate video altogether. How did you grow on YouTube? So a couple different ways. I've been around for a while. So I have an email list, which a lot of you guys might be a part of. Some of you, a lot of you, whatever. And so that helped a ton, like sending traffic to YouTube. I used to go live every single day. That helped a ton. Not as much as you would think, but it did help quite a bit. It helped me get monetized on YouTube, I guess, going live, but it wasn't a huge, I don't know, going live helped, but it wasn't the biggest help. Posting videos, long form videos was a huge help. And then I've had a couple like shorts kind of take off. I have one that's at like 20 or 30,000 views, which is like the most I have across any video, basically anywhere, which is pretty cool. That one still gets like 500 views like a day, it's kind of weird. Anyway, so that's helped a ton. And then basically like growing on YouTube is a function of 3 things, I think. 1 is having an interesting topic to talk about. 2 is having a good title. 3 is having a great thumbnail. That's it. Like that's all that it is. And so that's been my growth path on YouTube. I haven't optimized. I don't have an editor. I don't have anybody that comes in and does my thumbnails or does my videos. I could probably hire one to get that done and help me grow a little bit more. But I think a lot of this is like interesting topics from an interesting person, and you doing something a little bit unique, plus the clickability of having a good thumbnail and a good title. I think that's how you're going to grow on YouTube. And everybody has their time. So I'm sure at some point I'll have a video that will do thousands and thousands and thousands of views. That'll help me grow a ton. And then that will just be like its own flywheel. Just like because people watch that, they watch more and they subscribe and they keep watching, blah, blah, blah. But I haven't hit that threshold yet. I haven't hit that velocity yet. So I've grown steadily. I've started this YouTube seriously in November. It's July 22nd now. I started this seriously November 4th was my first video I posted. I went live, I think, for like 3 or 4 hours, I think. And so it's been a steady grind, I guess. It hasn't been a full year yet. I'm sure I'll be at 3, maybe even 4,000 subs by the time I get to November of 2025. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Last one here. Coinbase has futures with 10x leverage. Will you trade it? This is interesting. I actually did see this on X, Twitter, whatever. I hate the rebrand of X. It should be called Twitter. Twitter is like culture. X is just like, ugh. Like X is like making like there's some apartments going up down the street from me, and they're gray. They're like light gray and dark gray. And I'm like, that's so gross. You know, I don't like the grayification that we've had here. But so Twitter is a much better name. Terrible rebrand. But I did see this on Twitter, which was that Coinbase offers this 10x leverage. What I did see was that XRP had, you need $180 of margin or money in your account to get the margin, and then you make $5 per cent that Ripple would move. And so that one seemed the most fair to me of all the ones, like margin to movement. While like Bitcoin's like $100, which like is fine, I guess. You get $5 per $100 that moves, which is quite a bit, but whatever. And so it's interesting. Like, will I trade it? Maybe. Like, I might dabble in and just have fun. I don't know. Crypto's a lot of fun. I've made most of my money in crypto. Like, most of my net worth has come from crypto, not by day trading it, by simply buying and spotting opportunities and then holding on to them for a decent period of time. So we'll see. It is interesting though. I don't know. Coinbase is fascinating. I don't love their UI. I'm sure their fees are going to be somewhat ridiculous, and so it won't be conducive to day trading. And if it's not conducive to day trading, then we won't do it, obviously. So we'll see. But I'm always looking for new things, like because you want to see what you can apply. Like maybe futures you're decent at, but like you could be way better at something else. And so you always want to keep an eye out there, for what you're doing. But I love futures. I'll probably stay with futures, but it's out there. Options are cool too. Maybe that's in the future. We'll see. But yeah, 10x leverage, it's nuts. I could simply see myself blowing up an account with XRP and not having any prop firm funds there. So we'll see. But anyway, if you guys have more questions for me, or you just have things that you want to just, I don't know, get off your chest, I don't know. Submit them. There's a form. Doesn't require your name. Doesn't require an email. Nothing. Just put your question in there. Hit submit, and then it will be on this sheet for next time. And then we will cover those topics. And I want to do one of these a week. So hopefully we get those in. Get your questions in so I can answer them for next week. I had a lot of fun making this today, and I would like to hear from you guys and what your questions are so we can do more of that coming up. All right, I will see you in the next video. Have a great one. Peace.